Hey, so I'm gonna show you guys how to make my blush matte pink set of earrings. So these are done with a 2 needle and it's called flat stitch. So we're gonna begin by threading our needle. So I have 2 arms length of thread, and we're just gonna begin. So this technique, you're gonna need 2 needles, 2 threaded needles. You're gonna thread each of them. So the way I do it is I just pinch it until I can see it peeking out, and then I just slowly pull it through. And then you're going to divide the thread into half. And then you're gonna make sure that the ends are fairly equal. I like to tie a double knot at the end of mine. There we go, all done. Okay, so the first step, you're just gonna need 1 needle. So we have our fabric, and then I have my little centerpiece. So you're just gonna position that somewhere in the middle. And then I'm just gonna poke a hole. So you're gonna always start from the back so that your knot is showing in the back and it's not gonna be showing on your beadwork. So there we go. And you're just gonna poke the needle just as close to the gem as possible. And you're gonna pull that through. This part, because you're kind of poking blind, you just gotta poke around until you can get through that hole again. Oops. Okay, I'm just gonna look in the back and try and find the same hole. There we go. Couldn't get it through. Okay, and I'm just gonna secure each, so there's 2 holes. So I'm just gonna secure the first one 2 times. You can do 2 or 3 times, and then you're gonna poke, try and get through the second hole. There we go, I got it through. And again, you're gonna just poke right beside the gem. Oops. Oh, I got a bit of a tangle. Pull that all the way through. All right, there we go. We got our gem secured. And then now I'm gonna bring up the needle. I like to just start from the bottom, and you're just gonna poke until it's like slightly away from your gem. You guys can see that. And then we're gonna start our first row of beads. So if we go back to the earring, so my first row is this light pink color. So we're just gonna start, I like to start with about 20 beads. So this is going to be the 2 needle technique. So you're going to take your first needle and you're just going to put on about 20 beads. If you're fairly new to this technique, you can definitely start with a smaller amount, just because when you're using both needles, it can kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable at first. It just takes a little practice to kind of get used to holding the beads. Well, I guess holding both needles. Or maybe if you're familiar with this technique, you can even put on more beads. Just like, it's just kind of whatever you're comfortable with. So I got, I don't know, about 20 beads on there. So the first needle is going to have the beads on it, and then you can kind of just put the needle off to the side. And then your less dominant hand, so my less dominant hand is my left hand, so this is just gonna be like your guiding hand. So you're just gonna push the beads around, kind of just positioning and guiding them as you bead along. And yeah, just kind of like wrap it around your finger, just whatever feels comfortable for you. And then your dominant hand, which I'm right-handed, so my right hand's my dominant hand, is going to do the sewing and the stitches. Okay. So I have my second needle. It's already threaded, 2 arms length. Oh, I have a bit of a knot in this one. Just a second. I just got a bit of a knot I'm gonna take out quickly. Okay, so now I have my first needle with the beads on it, and then I'm gonna use my second needle to do the sewing and the stitches. Okay, so my left hand is just holding the beads where I want them, and then my right hand is gonna begin doing the stitches. So I'm gonna go in between. So where I'm looking to get my bead, or my needle is in between the first 2 beads. I like to go from the inside of the row, so I'm gonna go in between my gem and the first row of beads, but then in between the first and the second bead. So once I like that spot right there, I'm happy with that spot. So I'm gonna pull that thread all the way through, and then I'm gonna go over the row of beads. So I'm going over the row of beads, and I'm kind of aiming to get in between the 2 beads. So the second thread is going to be just securing the row of beads by going over the thread. Okay, so I have my first little one done. Then I'm gonna do this, just repeat that, but onto the next bead. So I'm in between the gem and the row, and then I'm going over the row. So this thread is going in between the 2 beads. Now I got my second one done. Oh, my camera's wiggling. Okay. And then, so yeah, this hand is just gonna kind of guide the beads to where I want them. Sometimes you just have to poke around quite a few times until you're kind of, you're satisfied with with where you want your stitch to go. And you're just gonna continue doing that all the way around. I like to go between each bead just because I like the finished outcome. It's just very